Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the European Multinational Security Protocol. Yesterday I made a video where I exposed the weaknesses of Donald Trump. You know, if you can't understand your enemy, if you can't see your enemy, you can't defeat your enemy. So in the last video I kind of showed the entire European Union how to measure the steps of Donald Trump. How to know how to predict his moves, how to checkmate this man. So I expose his vulnerabilities, you know. So this German Chancellor Friedrich Merz walking around somewhere in a school and making a comment like, "Oh my God, this Trump is humiliating himself with the situation in Iran," and just a casual comment like that, you know, we're all hooked up to the system. The Justitia America wakes up, enters Donald Trump, and starts to cut this Friedrich Merz. Hades in Donald Trump, right? Hades, possessed by Hades. Hades enters Donald Trump, and Donald Trump starts to kill the destiny of Friedrich Merz. Anyone who dares to criticize El Donaldo Trumpo, you will wake up Hades of America and will enter some American asset, whether it's the president or whatever. Whatever is an American asset, it will wake up and it will destroy you. So I became victim of Justitia America, and I claimed Justitia America. Yes. So I come online again today with Justitia America and Justitia Europe. And with Justitia America, I'm claiming I took the power of Donald Trump. With Justitia America, I can look at the situation from a different perspective. I can look at the European Multinational Security Protocol from a even more brutally forceful perspective. So I'm coming online to you to talk about this European destiny and more like talking about how dangerous, you know, in the European Multinational Security Protocols, the title of it already insinuates that there are issues, right? But today I want to, you know, emphasize a little bit more on the danger level. I just want to give everyone who's watching an oversight. How dangerous is the European Union right now? Is it dangerous? Yes, it's very dangerous. So to make sure that you all understand how dangerous the European destiny has become, I'm going to give you a systemic oversight with Justitia America, the power of Donald Trump. Okay? Not just with Europe's power, also with America's power. I'm going to show you the reality of the matter. How dangerous is life in Europe? Okay? So on 14 April 2026, the European Union collapsed. That means nobody got generational blessings. So here in Europe, we have 500 million people, and that means 500 million destinies. And these destinies are bank accounts from the past. Christian bloodlines, people that don't want to live by the Bible, people that don't want to hear about the Bible, but they are instruments. You know, their grandfather were Christians. Their grandfather were Christians. So these people are the descendants of, you know, 4 or 5 or 6 generations of Christianhood. You know, if you live like a Christian, like a proper Christian, you build what is known as generational legacy, and it goes into your family bloodline. So Europe's prosperity is based upon God's blessing upon every European, but this God's blessing comes through the generational line. So on April 14, 2026, this ended. Nobody in Europe got blessings. I'm talking about 500 million people all of a sudden waking up to a spiritual wall, ladies and gentlemen. I also woke up to the spiritual wall, ladies and gentlemen. And that's when I start calling the line, like, hey, there is a signal in the ether, which is called European Multinational Security Protocol. So I started making these videos about this protocol because I'm consciously aware of it. The others are not consciously aware of it. They're not trained to be consciously aware of it. But I am. So I saw that what is known as this systemic mind is turning against everyone in Europe. This is super complicated, but I'm going to do it properly. Okay. So when everyone's generational blessings ran out, nothing goes your way anymore. Your destiny ends. So I'm waking up, April 14, 2026, and some demon starts entering everyone around me and start making trouble. So I'm like, oh my god, not this shit again. So from my personal perspective, as a religious man, I go like, there's this activity, demonic activity around me. What's wrong with these people, right? I don't really know what it is. So of course I have my theories, poltergeist, demonic possession, bad karma, curses, whatever. This is theories. So I'm looking at 14 April 2026 and I go like, oh, not this stuff again. All these people are becoming possessed, and it's like a wind fall over these people, and these people become weird. Just like how in a European Parliament you got this hysteria. These women have this fucking crazy hysteria. This hysteria goes like this. Ha ha ha. All our men are sissies. Oh my god, they have trade Pokemon cards. And then at the next day they go like, femicide is coming. All the men want to kill us. It's like they have this emotional imbalance, like a wind. It just blows everywhere. Makes no sense whatsoever, right? So I see this quote unquote wind upon the people around me. I go like, what is this wind? Is this a poltergeist? Is this bad karma? Is this a demon? I don't know. I'm just looking at it from a 14 April 2026 perspective. Okay. But, time passes by and I started making these videos, the European Multinational Security Protocol, and all of a sudden I'm getting power. Key of Peter from the Pope of Rome. Stuff like that. Real power. Because I'm interfering, right? Called law of surprise. When somebody's falling and you block the fall, or you break the fall, that person shares in your destiny. So all of a sudden, this European multinational security protocol, I'm gaining. I'm gaining special abilities and stuff from their bloodlines. I'm becoming stronger by serving them in this protocol, ladies and gentlemen. So now I'm realizing, when all the Europeans lose their generational blessings, what happened is that the people around me also lost their generational blessings, and they hooked up to what is known as Justitia Europe. In the last episode, I talked about what that is. It's like Adriel from Warrior Nun. They're all becoming weird, hysteric, chaotic. And because everyone's generational blessings ran out, Justitia Europe still had generational blessings. So the timeline Justitia Europe is the timeline European Multinational Security Protocol. So because I still had honor, I still have power, I still have the things I can do, but everyone around me is spiritually dead, the only trade partner, open trade European system, is this European Justitia, the last quote-unquote creditor. Only the problem is, I've been fighting this same entity for 11 years. Well, this is a complicated matter, but I'm using Justitia America that I took out of the soul of Donald Trump. I took it. I'm using it to show you. So, yes, nobody got any destiny anymore in Europe, and everyone's soul connect to this European Justitia, and it's like a wind. Everyone is now connected in Europe to the wind, which is called European Multinational Security Protocol. Whoever you're looking at in Europe who still has energy, they are doing this multinational security protocol. So you see France hugging with Germany, you see Germany hugging with Sweden, you see these movements in European Union. That is Justitia Europe trying to defend Europe. If you have no blessings, if your karmic energy ran out, you cannot be part of this process. So you have the people in Europe that just stand here and watch, powerless, and you have people in Europe who try to do something about it. And I'm then the individual who is bringing oversight to the story time after time after time. And that's my business. This is how I get stronger, because they pay me with their birthright. This is something I explained in the earlier European multinational security protocols. All right, so let's continue with the story. On May 7th, 2026, Justitia Europe also lost generational blessings. So this is like an onion. First, the people bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt. Then the system, the individuals, spiritually bankrupt. And now all of a sudden, the last wind, the European Multinational Security Protocol bankrupt. on 7 May 2026. And that's when Marco Rubio walked up to the Pope with the mandates. That's when the occupation of the European Union started. So I had debts to the systemic minds. So I'm not in the positive. Europe is collapsing. Everyone is in negative. So I've been in negative. Like I went out of negative on May 9th. So you see my service. This is the way how I fix my karma. I go online and participate in this wind, and then I pay my karmic debts, right? And at May 9th, I became a positive, no longer karmic negativity. So I've been battling this Justitia organism for 11 years. And this system can no longer use its organisms to jam shut me because there is no negative karma. Right? So while entire Europe, including the Justitia system, goes into the karmic negativity, 2 days later I jump out of it. So I become a positive karmic entity. However, it's not that I'm like super loaded or whatever. It's like I just came out of the negativity, right? So you have to put things in proper context. Just because a man go out of the karmic negativity doesn't mean he can just punch Satan in the face, right? It doesn't work that way. I became immune against being punched against, right? That's all it means. So the moment that Europe defaulted on May 7th, the moment European Multinational Protocol, the battle sequence failed, I became European Justitia, and everyone around me again became possessed, this time by Justitia America. Rubio walked up to the Pope with the mandates, and Justitia America bought all the dead souls of Europe. Let me repeat myself. Justitia America, the president of America's power, the governing entity, the administrator mind of America, still had generational blessings. While Europe no longer had it, and the moment I became Justitia Europe, I still had 2 days of service before I become a positive. So America was the only positive entity. Now I am also a positive entity, only for 2 days. I'm just being an administrator right now. I'm showing the administrative power of Justitia America, right? So Donald Trump still had generational blessings, and his followers still had generational blessings. So all of a sudden, everyone became possessed by American Justitia, Hades, right? So the European Union got another cycle, lending the generational blessings of Donald Trump, doing the mandates, So European Multinational Security Protocol ended, and what started was United States National Security Protocol. So all of a sudden, I'm walking around in Europe, and there's energy in the air. It's like it's a vacuum. Walking around, and I'm coming online, talking about how we're occupied, and I'm this energy in the air, man. It's like sucking the energy, spiritual energy, dead spiritual energy, people. And like, how do I get this dead spiritual energy away from me? So just from my perspective, I go like, what in the world? How do I fix these problems? Every time a new fucking problem, right? So, America doesn't have endless generational blessings. So on 11 May, which is today, Justitia America defaulted, whereby all these quote-unquote instruments of Justitia America are no longer instruments of Justitia America. Donald Trump went bankrupt, and I'm a positive entity, so the Justitia America jumped over to me. Yes. So this is 2 days in positivity, and all of Europe and all of the United States is out of generational blessings. That's quite the situation. So this is the imperial administration, right? This is how the empire looks. Now, watch me now. Now I'm going to tell you why this is all very dangerous. So because everyone is karmically bankrupt, Donald Trump is spiritually dead. Donald Trump spiritually died today. I'm telling you the truth. You don't have to believe me. I don't give a shit if you believe me. I'm just doing my job. Okay? So the Pope of Rome is possessed by chaos. And Donald Trump, the American president, is possessed by Hades. Right? So that's some really weird shit, people. I'm telling you. So what that means is that here in Europe, everyone is misled. And in America, everyone is in the underworld. So a little bit difficult. I'll explain it to you. So in the life of the Pope and the Vatican and all the political houses and all the police and the courts and stuff, everything is three-dimensional. So here we have people who rebel against the Bible, but they say God doesn't exist and Satan doesn't exist. It's all man-made. So people, for fun, buy a 666 license plate. For fun, they take a tattoo with the demon on it. For fun, they become a Satanist. They do the satanic rituals for fun because they have no fucking idea what that is. Because they're completely three-dimensional. To them, it's just a joke. Christianity is just a joke, and this whole anti-Christianity is the same type of joke, but this joke is a lot more funnier. So people just, for funny reasons in their mind, become Satanists. For no other reason, because it's funny. They don't worship Satan, and they don't worship God. They're like, that's really nice, all that stuff is funny. It's like a cultural funny. It's a cultural entertainment for these people. So Satan can just walk among these people and make them do all these things, and they don't really worship him, but the Satan doesn't care. They can't see it. They're three-dimensional carnal floor dwellers. So Satan is misleading them. They're not worshiping Satan. They're being misled by Satan. They can't see these multi-dimensional dynamics. They can't see it. Right? That's Europe. So the Pope of Rome, the karma of Europe is negative, whereby Satan is allowed to mislead. They're not worshiping the devil because they have no clue what that is. That's another dimension. They can't enter that. That's called three-dimensional beings. So in America, it doesn't work that way. The Satanists of America, Hades, right? These people know what they're doing. They're like, oh my God, you can open a portal to another dimension and you can get the supernatural fucking demonic powers to rule the world, right? There are many films like that. There are films out there, like I don't know what the name of these films are. There's like Jet Li, League of Gods. Then you see a Chinese emperor talking with the devil, and the devil is promising him, I will give you the entire world. You know, that type of stuff. You know, Adolf Hitler is the same thing. In the occult, some entity talked to him, I'll make Germany the master race, right? So to the underworld, right? That's the underworld. Once a people fall from this, you make jokes, right? Like Europeans with chaos. They walk away from right, they walk away from civilization, and they start making jokes with civilization. Ha ha ha, 666, ha ha, funny tattoo. Ah, it's just a fucking fairy tale, man. What's your problem? Are you scared now, Christian? I go to 6, right? It's just they're playing games with this thing. And then their soul depletes and they fall into the fucking underworld. And their children get born in the underworld, and a fucking demon comes down and goes like, I'll promise you the entire world. That's what's happening to Donald Trump. That's Hades. Right? So these Americans, they don't play games with the spiritual world. They understand there are portals and dimensions. Look at these American films. Look at American films like Marvel. It's all this supernatural stuff. No, it's not a three-dimensional civilization, America. It's you can call it a four-dimensional thing. They understand the spiritual world. It's not, they're not bound to the earth. Okay? So to the Satanists in America, they're not joking. To them, it's a ritualistic stuff. I have memories. I don't know if God is helping me with the memories, but they do stuff like menstrual blood. They take their menstrual blood, put it on the walls, do some kind of rituals. These Americans have a different culture. They have a different spiritual culture, right? So the American president is possessed by an underworld thing. And the Pope of Rome is possessed by a deceiving entity called chaos. This is instability, chaos, inner division, right? It's like a chaos. I don't know if you have seen Pokemon, the first movie, I think, with Mewtwo, and Mewtwo made everyone fight with each other. That's chaos. So the Pope is like Mewtwo. If you want to understand the Pope, you're going to watch Pokemon first, this film with Mewtwo. And Mewtwo is just putting up everyone against each other. And that's how he stay in power. That's called chaos. The power of chaos, right? That's what the Pope is using. But Hades is just coming from the underworld, collecting all the dead souls. So let me show you the real spiritual intelligence. Why not, right? If you're still here listening to me, we can just do this thing properly. When it's your time to die, right? Imagine there's a clock, and the clock says it's time for you to die. Something will come to pick you up. You as a human can't fight that. You can't fight death. You can't pick up a sword and fight death. So in the eyes of the satanic Illuminati America, they're like, if I'm possessed by Hades and you're about to die and I'm going to be the host of Hades to kill you, how are you going to defeat me? That's their reasoning. That's the reasoning of the American elite. I'm doing my best, ladies and gentlemen. So these people worship death so that death give them a contract, and then they when when God calls someone to go to the next world, then they are the administrators of death. So they go like, okay, if you are the administrator of death, who is ever going to defeat you, right? If you are possessed by an entity that's going to pick you up for the next world, that entity will win. A human has a limited time. So these Americans worship this type of stuff. Okay? Hey, let's go back to European Union. The Bible is a fairy tale. It's no competition. These people are not the same. It's a different level. Okay? So enough on that. I showed you the difference between the Pope of Rome, who is possessed by chaos, and the President of America, who is possessed by death. So these people can do their things. So the Pope of Rome can do whatever he does because he sits on generational blessings, and the American president can do the same thing because he sits on generational blessings. So the more chaos that the Pope of Rome brings into the European Union, the more his energy depletes. The more death that American president brings to the world, the more his energy depletes. And if you serve death, yeah, your energy is going to become real fucking creepy, right? Real creepy fucking energy. Look at how they serve death in the White House. They bring children and stuff, and they bring death to Europe. So what do? They bring Epstein here to Europe, and they go like, "Hello, princess of Sweden or whatever, or Norway or whatever, or whatever. You wanna come to our fucking party?" And then when you go to this fucking party, you make a sexual soul tie with something you ain't supposed to be touching, and then death can claim you and control you. You ain't escaping death, right? The moment you fall for the trap of death, how the fuck you gonna escape death, right? So the Americans put a trap for the Europeans, and they know the laws of universe, so they go like, okay, touch that thing over there, and then if you touch that thing, you will surely die. It's like they know these universal laws. This is a different warfare. Are you all still following me? This briefly, duty, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to make all this conceptual, difficult stuff easy for everyone who's watching. I'm simplifying as good as I can. So, Western Empire, America is just the agents of death, and then here, Europe, all these elites are just agents of chaos. And I'm fighting this shit for everyone. I don't care. I call Popo, make jokes with Pope and stuff, or El Donald Trumpo, jokes. I make jokes because I know these things are demons. Right? I'm a priest. I fight demons. That's what I do. So in the story of the Bible, you see a story with Potiphar. You see that there's this guy called Joseph, and he is falsely accused, put in a prison for many years. And somehow this Potiphar guy managed to put him in that prison with false accusations. And then this Joseph rises above Potiphar somewhere, become right hand of Pharaoh. So Justitia America and Justitia Europe, the Europeans have used that, and the Americans have used that to put the quote-unquote domestic terrorists, these wankers that with their computers, like in Britain, the people are being arrested for domestic terrorism. All they're doing is have a fucking website or whatever, something criticized against government. So they're putting all these... the Americans, Europeans don't tolerate any critique. You critique government, they will come for you. There's so many news articles. You just ask the artificial intelligence. It can show you the whole news feed. People are just getting arrested for having a criticism, right? So that's like a Potiphar putting Joseph in jail, right? With Justitia. So what's happening, I know how that works, so I know if you keep hitting me with the law, and I'm not guilty, there's going to come a point where Joseph's going to rise above Potiphar. So I knew for 11 years I've been poking the Justitia, poking the police, poking these people, poking these mobsters. And sure, because they have generational blessings for Christian bloodlines, and I'm a first generational Christian, I don't have that imminency before God. I don't have that generational energy to burn, right? So they can keep getting victory over me, but that shit's going to end at one point, and I'm just going to take all their power, and that's what I've done. These people are done. Okay, so let me now continue to the core of the message. Now that America and Europe both are karmically dead, spiritually dead, the President of America is spiritually dead, the Pope of Rome is spiritually dead, I just exposed both of their shit for you with Justitia America and Justitia Europe taking it. This is the force that the power abusers use to do whatever they're doing. We've got to talk about systemic mind. We have to talk about systemic mind. So when you run out of generational blessing, what happens, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're in Europe or in America, is that you don't have any grace of God anymore. That means Donald Trump is sitting in White House right now, and he gives orders because he feels that is his destiny. Same thing with Pope of Rome. He sits in Vatican City and he gives orders. The natural way of things. I'm talking about everyone, right? I'm just using the example of President and Pope, but this counts for every single European or American. If you make an action, there comes a counter reaction. You make the action, and the systemic mind is going to make a counter reaction. And this is the counter reaction. You go do what you think you're supposed to do, and there is an amount of chaos and an amount of death going to come upon your path. That's the karmic mirror. So, not just your personal karma, but also your generational karma. So the Pope of Rome is going to wake up, he's going to give a command or a decree or whatever, and there's going to come something which is called karmic recoil. The systemic mind is not going to agree. The systemic mind is going to hold up the karmic mirror through chaos. And chaos is inner division, misfortune, bad luck, treason, betrayal, stuff. And then, so the systemic mind is going to release that upon the Pope. And at the same time, the systemic mind is going to release canceling upon him. Curses, bam, more curses. All the curses of the Vatican will fall upon him. So it's going to happen through the universe, not through an individual or through a state, because that doesn't work anymore. Because I took all the power. It doesn't work that the systemic mind will no longer crush the Pope through the president, because the president doesn't have any generational blessing left to play instrument of justice. So all corrupt, right? So now what's going to happen is going to come from outside of the West, ladies and gentlemen. So since this European multinational security protocol, I've seen it all. I've seen people getting sick. I've seen people going into the hospital. I've seen really crazy mental instability. You know, I've seen dead birds flying into windows, all kinds of omens, right? The systemic mind will give all the Europeans and all the Americans, they give omens of bad luck. And after the omens, there come the karmic administration. Okay, all the Westerners in Europe and in America. I don't know about Britain because I can't see any of that. But you're going to pay your karma now. The systemic mind has no more tolerance for you. You go do what you think you're supposed to do, and your bad karma is going to come like a chain reaction. You make an action and the chain reaction. The systemic mind, look at me. I'm making an action right now, and if I have bad karma, I'm going to do my thing, continue my whatever I'm doing, and then in front of me is going to appear my karma. The systemic mind is going to rile some stuff up against me to let me know how much chaos and death still need to be overcome to become a positive karmic entity. Nobody can escape. No more blessings from God to escape the purification, right? Everyone is bankrupt. So that's a big problem because you have a United States of America, you know, who's killing people, genocidal stuff. They can't afford it anymore. It's going to fire back. Instant karma is what it's called. Every single shot, every single killing, every single assassination, every time America kills, killing is going to come back to America now. It's going to come back. All your deeds are going to come back. If you don't want to listen, I don't care. Systemic mind doesn't care. It will indiscriminately fire back at you. It's like the whole universe is going to turn against you. You can't control it. It's outside the control of America, outside of control of Europe. All the European citizens, all the American citizens, it's out of your control. You make your action, and the systemic mind is going to make a reaction through omens, bad fortune, cursings, demonic activity, whatever. Your issues are going to, you can't escape your issues anymore. No more blessings means no more escape of your issues. That means you have to fix it. If you don't fix your karma, if you don't fix your relationship with God, if you don't produce more than you consume, if you don't do what is right, you will go down mercilessly. It will come and it will destroy you. And if you sit there and go like, when can it come? I assure you, it already started. It is no joke. It is time to fix your deeds and stop being a systemic parasite, because no more blessings. All right? So I gave a proper warning. Every action you take, chaos and death will come for you and put you back into equal. There's no more escaping. It's like the gravity changed in America and in Europe. There's no more escape. The child fuckers in the White House, you can't escape no more. You're using the blessings of God to put a divine wall of protection around you so you can fuck children. Now divine protection is gone. Look at your Justitia America wall of protection. That's here. Took it away from you. So now go fuck your children, and the fire of God will come directly upon you through your enemies, through your karma. Okay? And then you can go like this. Oh my God, the enemies of America, we need to fight back. No. It's called the divine punishment of your crimes. It's going to fall upon you. You can't escape anymore. Westerners here in Europe and in America need to go away from this victim mentality and see the universe as an organism that's going to inflict karma to you now. Divine blessings from the generation line block this process. There is nothing left to block the karma. It's coming. Epstein is going to be exposed and heads are going to roll.